The lights of Station 12 were always bright, but tonight they felt cruel. Metal crates lined the wide trading floor, packed with food, weapons, and machines. But in the middle, tied to a rusted pole, was not a thing, but a girl. Her skin was pale violet, marked with dirt and dried blood. Her wrists were bound with thick steel cuffs, her ankles chained to the post. On her shoulder was a fresh brand, burned in deep, glowing, faintly red. It read, "Unclaimed property in Galactic. Common." She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just stared at the floor, her long silver hair falling over her face. She looked like she had stopped hoping a long time ago. Traders passed her without a glance. Soldiers joked nearby, eating hot snacks, ignoring her like she was nothing. One alien leaned close to another and laughed. "Bet she'll go for cheap, maybe half a credit." The other said, "Why even buy it? Just wait till the guards leave and take a turn." They both laughed louder. She didn't move. Her eyes stayed down, but her fingers trembled just a little, as if part of her still wanted to run. There was nowhere to go. Then a soft sound echoed across the floor. Rolling wheels, a squeaky cart, a human janitor wearing a faded brown jumpsuit pushed a bin past the crates. He looked tired, his name badge barely hanging on his shirt. He didn't seem to belong in this part of the station, but here he was working late. His name was Cole, and he wasn't supposed to stop. He was just supposed to clean, sweep, and get out before security locked the floor. But his eyes caught her, just for a second, and something inside him froze. She wasn't just another alien. There was something in the way she sat, quiet, beaten, but not broken. Her eyes flicked up when she heard him stop. They were wide and shining, but empty. Like the light inside had been taken, Cole looked around. No one cared. No one even noticed he had stopped walking. He slowly pushed the cart closer, pretending to check his cleaning supplies. Now he could see her better. The brand on her shoulder was still smoking slightly. Her lips were cracked, and her arms had bruises. She was young, maybe just barely a woman. He knelt slowly, placing a rag on the floor like he was cleaning. "Can you hear me?" he whispered. She flinched but didn't speak. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said quietly. Still no words, only silence. Cole noticed a small tray by her side. One piece of stale bread, not touched. A guard had probably thrown it at her earlier. He looked into her eyes again. This wasn't some dangerous criminal or some wild alien creature. This was someone they had thrown away like trash. He stood up slowly and whispered, "I'll be back." But she didn't react. Maybe she didn't believe him, maybe she didn't care. Cole walked away, but his heart was racing. What was he thinking? If he helped her, he could be arrested or worse, blacklisted, hunted, jailed. She was property now, and laws were strict on interfering with slave auctions, but he couldn't unsee her face. He couldn't forget how her eyes looked when they met his. Not angry, not wild, just tired and ashamed. That night, as the station lights dimmed and the trading floor emptied, Cole sat in his small sleeping pod staring at the ceiling. He thought of her chains, her silence, her shaking hands. He couldn't sleep. At midnight, he pulled out a storage crate from under his bed. Inside were tools, wire cutters, gloves, scrap fabric. He picked up a dark coat and folded it neatly. Then he grabbed a water pouch and a protein bar. He was going back, even if it was illegal, even if he didn't have a plan, even if she hated him, because no one else was going to help her. And something inside him whispered, "If I don't, no one ever will." Station 12 was quiet now. The shops were closed, the lights dim, and the loud voices were gone. Only the hum of power lines and the distant echo of boots remained. Cole moved carefully through the back tunnels, a dark coat over his jumpsuit. In his bag, he carried wire cutters, gauze, water, and a protein bar. His hands were shaking, not from fear, but from the weight of what he was about to do. Helping a bound slave meant breaking law, breaking rules, and maybe breaking his life. But every time he blinked, he saw her eyes. She wasn't a thing, she wasn't trash, she was someone. He reached the edge of the auction floor, ducking behind storage crates. The auction post still stood in the center, and she was still there, tied to it. Her body slumped like she hadn't moved for hours. Cole looked around. 2 cameras, 1 guard at the far end, half asleep. Timing had to be perfect. He crawled low, behind the cargo, slipping through shadows. Each step felt louder than the last. When he reached the base of the post, she didn't move. Her eyes were half open, her lips dry. He whispered, "It's me." She blinked, barely able to focus. "I brought water," he said, slowly holding out the pouch. She stared at it like it was a dream. Then she nodded, just once. Cole opened the cap and pressed it to her lips. She drank fast, coughing slightly but didn't stop. After a few gulps, she leaned her head back, breathing deeper. He reached into his bag, pulled out the protein bar, and broke it in half. She hesitated, then took a piece with trembling fingers. She chewed slowly like she hadn't eaten in days. Cole didn't rush her. He just watched the corners in case the guard looked their way. "You have a name?" he asked quietly. She didn't answer at first, then, after a pause, she whispered, "Vera." It was soft like dust, but it was a name, and that was enough. Cole took out the wire cutters. "I'm going to cut these," he said, pointing to the chains. She looked scared. "No one will hurt you," he said. "Not while I'm here." The first cut made a soft click. She flinched, but stayed still. The second chain took longer, rusted and thick. Finally, with a hard pull, the cuffs dropped to the floor. Vera's arms fell to her sides, too weak to lift. But she didn't run. She just stared at Cole with wide, confused eyes, like she couldn't believe someone would undo her chains. He slipped the large coat over her shoulders, hiding the brand, then gently helped her stand. Her legs wobbled, barely able to support her. So Cole let her lean on him step by step. They moved like ghosts through the crates. One wrong noise and it would all be over. Vera's breathing was rough, her body fragile. But she didn't complain. She followed him into the dark. As they reached the maintenance door, a loud voice shouted behind them, "Hey, who's there?" Cole froze. He turned just enough to see the guard standing up, flashlight in hand. Vera's hand tightened around Cole's arm. He whispered, "Run." They sprinted down the narrow path, boots pounding, hearts racing. The door opened with a hiss, and they slipped into the vent hallway. Cole slammed the hatch shut and twisted the manual lock. The guard's footsteps echoed behind them. "Stop. You're stealing property." But the door held, just long enough. Inside the vent tunnel, it was narrow and cold. Cole led her down the winding path to an old storage unit he had cleaned months ago. No one came here anymore. Not since the floor had collapsed under the back panels. He pushed aside a broken cabinet, revealing a hidden gap. "Inside," he whispered. Vera crawled in first, then Cole followed, sealing the gap behind them with metal scraps. Inside, the air was stale but safe. He set her down gently, wrapping her in a spare blanket from his bag. Vera didn't speak, but her eyes never left him. Cole sat beside her, breathing hard. "We're safe, for now," he said. She nodded slowly, clutching the blanket. For the first time, her face softened, not with a smile but with something close to relief. She looked at her wrist where the cuff had been, then at Cole. "You didn't have to do this," she whispered. He replied, "Someone had to." And in that moment, Vera began to believe maybe, just maybe, she wasn't just a thing anymore. The air inside the storage hideout was cold and heavy. Dust floated in the dim light from a broken ceiling panel. Cole sat against the wall, arms crossed, watching Vera as she curled beneath the old blanket. Her breathing was uneven, but not from fear now. From exhaustion. She hadn't said a word in over an hour. The silence wasn't awkward. It was the kind of silence that said, "This is the first peace I've had in a long time." Cole didn't rush her. He knew too much had happened in too little time. Instead, he opened a small metal box beside him, pulling out a folded shirt and a half-used med kit. "Here," he said, gently placing them beside her. "You're safe here. No one's going to touch you." Vera didn't respond, but after a while she reached for the med kit with shaky hands, Her fingers were slow, as if she was learning how to move again. She unwrapped the cloth on her shoulder, exposing the angry red brand. It was still glowing. Faintly, Cole looked away for a second. Not because he was disgusted, but because the mark made his blood boil. That anyone could do this to someone. "I tried to escape once," Vera said suddenly, voice low. "They caught me and made it worse." Cole looked at her, surprised she was talking. "I wasn't always a slave," she added. "My people were scientists, builders, dreamers." Her eyes drifted toward the cracked wall. "Now they call us extinct." Cole's voice was soft. "But you're here." She nodded slowly. "I'm the last one they found. They branded me so others would know. I'm just property now." Cole leaned forward. "That's not true." "You're not a thing, Vera," he said firmly. "And you're not alone anymore." Her lips trembled, but she didn't cry. Instead, she pulled something from under the blanket. A thin necklace. The chain was almost broken, but at the end hung a small glowing shard. It pulsed gently with blue light. "What is that?" Cole asked. She held it close, as if it were a part of her. "This is a memory crystal," she said. "It holds images, voices, feelings. It's all I have left from my family." Cole leaned closer, and the shard responded. Images flickered. In the air, a laughing alien child, her hair glowing in the sun. A tall woman holding her close, whispering words in a language Cole didn't understand. Then flames, soldiers, chains, and silence. The crystal dimmed again. Vera clutched it to her chest. "I was 9 when they took me," she whispered. "I stopped talking after that because no one ever listened." Cole said nothing for a moment, then he placed his hand gently over hers. "I'm listening now." Vera looked at him. Really looked. She saw no greed, no hunger, no pity. Just tired eyes and a stubborn heart. "You're not like the others," she said. "I'm just a janitor," Cole replied, half smiling. "But I still know right from wrong." A loud crash echoed outside the wall. Vera tensed immediately, pulling the blanket over her legs. Cole held a finger to his lips, then reached for the hidden panel near the corner. He peered through a crack, watching a patrol bot hover by, red light scanning the hallway. "It's a sweep," he whispered. "They're looking for you." Vera's body went still, her hands shaking again. "They won't find us," Cole said firmly. "Not here." He had sealed the old storage unit from every path. No records, no maps, no reason to enter. After a few minutes, the bot floated away, its hum fading into silence. Vera exhaled slowly, her body relaxing. "You've hidden here before," she said. Cole nodded. "When I couldn't afford rent, this was my backup." He stood up and started clearing an area near the wall. "There's a panel back here," he said. "Connects to the station's old air system. No cameras, no heat sensors." He opened it, revealing a dark tunnel. Vera tilted her head. "Where does it go?" "Supply vents," he answered. "And deeper into areas no one checks." "I used it once to escape a security check." He looked at her and smiled slightly. "Guess it's your turn now." She stared at the tunnel, then at him. "You don't have to keep helping me," she said, voice almost questioning. "I know," Cole said, "but I want to." She touched her shoulder, tracing the edge of the brand. For a moment it seemed to fade. Not the mark itself, but the pain behind it. Then she said something he didn't expect. "If we go deeper, I'll show you something." "What?" he asked. She looked toward the tunnel, eyes shining faintly. "Something hidden," she said. "Something my people left behind before they vanished. Something worth saving." Cole blinked, then nodded slowly. He didn't know where this tunnel would lead. But for the first time, it wasn't just about saving her, it might be about something far bigger, something that could change everything, and with that, they crawled into the dark, together. The next day, everything changed. Cole and Vera had only just left the old air tunnels when the first alert hit the screen. Cole was wiping his face with a towel when a loud beep came from the public monitor outside the service hallway. He froze as a familiar face appeared on the screen, her face. Fugitive alert. Alien female. Unauthorized escape from auction hold. Species unknown. Possible threat to trade security. Reward. 20,000 credits for capture or confirmed location. The image was clear, her face visible, her brand glowing. Cole's stomach dropped. He looked over his shoulder and Vera was already reading the screen through a small crack in the wall. She didn't speak, didn't blink, only tightened her grip on the blanket wrapped around her. They made me look dangerous, she whispered. Her voice had no surprise in it, only tiredness. That's how they get everyone to look for me. Cole switched off the screen and shut the door. You're not dangerous, he said firmly. Not to me. But the truth was louder than his words. She was now worth more than most people earned in 5 years. And in a place like Station 12, that kind of money made monsters out of friends. They couldn't stay in the old vent room anymore. Cole led her through unused tunnels, past broken machines and old mining shafts. They found a small room once used for cooling units. Dusty but hidden, he sealed the door from inside and built a barrier of metal panels. Inside, Vera sat quietly as Cole spread out supplies, protein packs, water, a small power lamp. He kept checking the data pad in his hand, scanning for patrol routes and bounty claims. It's already spreading, he muttered. 3 bounty. Hunters just landed. Humans too, Vera looked up confused. I thought your kind might be different. Cole sighed. Some are, some aren't, he said. Most are just broke, hungry, or scared. She leaned her head back against the wall. I used to believe in stars, she whispered. That's somewhere out. There we mattered. Now I know the stars don't care. Cole looked at her, his voice softer. The stars might not care, he said, but I do. Vera's eyes met his, and for the first time there was something new in her face. Not fear, not pain, but trust, a small, fragile piece of it. That night, footsteps echoed closer than before. 2 bounty hunters, human men in thick jackets, searched near the old maintenance sector. Cole held his breath as they passed the hallway, voices low and sharp. You checked that vent room? One asked. Empty. The other grunted. But if someone's hiding her, we'll find them. When the sounds faded, Vera exhaled. They'll never stop, will they? She asked. Cole shook his head. Not until they think you're dead or useless, and then I need to stop running, she said. He turned to her, confused. What do you mean? I mean, we go loud, she said. We make them scared of me. Not because I'm a weapon, but because I survived. Cole was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded. You're not hiding anymore, he said. You're fighting. He helped her change into clothes he'd stitched together. Neutral fabric, old human station wear. The coat still hid her brand, but now she walked straighter. Her eyes had focus again. Later that night, she took the memory crystal from around her neck and held it out. I want you to see more, she said. Cole leaned close, and the crystal lit up. But this time, it showed, not just her family. It showed a tower, glowing with energy, standing high on a green world. Alien script filled the air like floating glass. They called it the Source Core, Vera explained. It connected all of us. When the war started, they tried to destroy it. But I escaped with the last map inside this crystal. Cole stared in shock. You mean, you have something the galaxy thought was lost? She nodded slowly. If we reach it, maybe. I can prove my people mattered. Maybe I can be more than a runaway. Cole stood, grabbing his bag. Then we find it, he said. Together. Vera gave a small smile, the first he had ever seen from her. I never asked, she said. Why are you doing all this? He shrugged, then said simply, because someone has to see you as more than a thing. And from that moment on, she wasn't running for her life anymore. She was walking toward a purpose, and the human who chose to protect her. He wasn't just saving a girl. He might be saving something far greater. The old cooling room was dark and quiet. Cole was fixing a loose panel near the ceiling, trying to block out the soft hum from above. Station patrols had doubled, and scanners were sweeping deeper every hour. But something else had changed. The bounty hadn't gone down. It had gone up. Now Vera wasn't just marked as a runaway. She was labeled biogenic priority specimen. Cole read the words on the alert, his hands going cold. They weren't hunting her for escape anymore, they were hunting her for something inside her. He looked at her sitting across the room. She was cleaning the necklace crystal with soft care. Her eyes looked calmer now, but behind them was a storm. "Waiting to break, Vera," he said gently. "We need to talk." She looked up, her silver hair falling slightly to the side. "You've seen the alerts?" she said, not surprised. Cole nodded. "They said you're biogenic," he said, "that your blood, it's not just rare, it's valuable." Vera didn't answer for a moment. Then she whispered, "They finally figured it out." She stood and walked to the wall, running her fingers over the cracked metal. "My people weren't just scientists," she said. "We were designed, grown, guided by something ancient." She held up her hand, letting the light from the crystal touch her skin. "I have nanothreads in my veins." Cole blinked. "Nanothreads? Microscopic threads older than this station woven into our DNA," she explained. "They repair, store, and protect. But they only activate with memory and trauma." She sat down slowly, wrapping the coat tighter. "I thought they'd broken when they branded me," she said. "But after you cut the chains, I felt something wake up inside." Cole sat across from her, listening without a word. "You said your people built something," he reminded. "That source core?" Vera nodded. "It's not just a power hub," she said. "It holds our culture, our language, even our dead. And I'm the last key." Before Cole could respond, the door to the storage room blinked. Once, twice, then red. Someone was outside. Vera jumped to her feet, but Cole pulled her back into the shadows. He drew a small blade from his bag and waited silently. A voice came through the comm port, clear and strange. "We don't mean harm." It said, "We're not bounty hunters," Cole frowned. The voice continued, "We are from the Gen Archive Council. We've been looking for her, not to capture, but to understand." Vera's face went pale. "I know that name," she whispered. "They experimented on my cousins, called it research." Cole stepped forward, still blocking her. "How did you find us?" he demanded. The voice answered, "She's sending out signals. Her blood is waking up." The door clicked once but didn't open. "We don't need her dead," the voice said. "We want to protect her legacy. Bring her to lab, Sector 8, and we'll stop the bounty," Vera whispered. "They'll trap me." Cole believed her. He saw the way her hands shook, not from fear of being found, but from being used again. "I'm not a sample," she said aloud, stepping forward. "If you really know what I am, then you'll know this. My memories are locked. Try to extract them by force and everything burns." The voice was silent for a moment, then said, "Your kind was always stubborn." And the connection went dead. Cole turned to her. "We need to leave this station." Vera nodded slowly. "There's an old ship," she said, "docked in Sector 9 behind the fallen hangar. My father's escape pod. He hid the key in the memory crystal." Cole stared at her, shocked. "You never told me you had a ship." "I wasn't sure it still existed," she said. "But now, I feel it calling." That night, Cole packed what little they had left. Vera tightened the straps on her coat, tucking the crystal safely beneath it. Before they left, Cole paused and looked at her one more time. "You okay?" he asked. She met his eyes. "I'm scared," she admitted, "but I'm also ready." They slipped into the lower shafts, crawling through maintenance tunnels and sealed-off doors. Every step felt like they were walking deeper into fate. Vera touched her chest, where the crystal rested, and whispered, "If they want my blood, they'll have to face what's inside it." Cole smiled faintly. "And if they try, they'll also face me." The wind in Sector 9 was colder, even inside the station walls. The pressure leaks made the tunnels moan like ghosts. Cole led the way through a half-collapsed corridor, using his scanner to track power signals. Vera followed close, the crystal under her coat glowing just faintly, like it could feel where it needed to go. They had been moving nonstop for hours. No sleep, no breaks, only whispers and hidden doors. They had to reach the pod before the bounty hunters, or the Gen Archive agents. But there was one more thing they had to do first, something Vera had begged him for. "I don't want to live with this name anymore," she had said, touching the mark on her shoulder. "This brand is still in every system, every scanner. If I show my face, I'll always be property." So Cole made a plan, a risky one. Erase the brand from the main registry and give Vera a new identity, one that wasn't chained to pain. They slipped into a locked comm station deep inside the maintenance zone. Cole knew this place. He used to clean it. It had an old uplink still connected to the trade network, dangerous but powerful. He sealed the doors behind them and pulled. Off a wall panel, wires sparked. Screens flickered to life. Vera stood beside him, nervous but focused. She hadn't said a word in 10 minutes, but he could feel her heart racing. Cole connected a stolen access key he'd been hiding for years, then slid the memory crystal into the second port. Blue light spread across the screen, scrolling code in a language Cole didn't know, but Vera did. Her fingers moved quickly, faster than he expected. Symbols appeared, vanished, shifted. The system fought back, rejecting her access 3 times. Then on the 4th attempt, click. They were in. Registry files opened like doors in her mind. Vera searched for her number, her chain ID, and when she found it, she stopped. Her hand hovered over the screen. Cole looked at her. "You okay?" She nodded slowly, then whispered, "I never thought I'd see my name and be able to delete it." She tapped the final command. Identity, erased, status, deleted. She breathed out like someone had been holding her underwater and finally let go. Cole reached out and gently pressed a new form into place. "What name do you want now?" he asked. Vera stared at the blank space, then slowly typed 4 letters. V-A-R-A. "Vara?" Cole said softly. She smiled just a little. "My mother's name." He hit enter, and the system accepted it. New ID created, new face scan linked, new life begun. But then, an alert flashed across the screen. Security breach detected, signal log tracking initiated. "They're coming," Cole said. "We need to run, now." They grabbed the crystal and tools and ran through the back exit. Sirens were already starting above them. Cole led her into a garbage chute that hadn't worked in years. They slid down into a dark shaft filled with dust and rusted metal. Vera landed hard, but didn't stop. This was her moment, her real escape. Through one final door they stepped into the hangar. It was silent, wide, filled with broken ships and forgotten parts. And there, hidden beneath a collapsed wing, was a pod covered in dust but humming softly. Vara stepped toward it, hands trembling. "It's real," she whispered. "My father's voice is still in here." She placed the crystal into the slot. The ship lit up instantly, as if waking from a dream. Her face reflected in the screen, but now it said, "Welcome, Vera." Cole helped open the side hatch and warm air poured out. Inside, the ship was small but strong, enough for 2, and fast enough to disappear from every scanner. "On this station, where do we go now?" Cole asked. Vara looked at him, her eyes no longer hollow. "We go to the source core," she said, "before they take everything that's left." Outside, the station sirens screamed louder. Inside, the pod doors sealed shut as the engines powered up. Vera touched her shoulder where the brand once burned. There was still a scar, but no more shame. No more chains. No more label. She wasn't property anymore. She wasn't a number. She wasn't a thing. She was Vera. And she had chosen to live. The sky above the outer rim station was filled with light. Ships hovered in perfect orbit, their hulls shining like mirrors. News drones buzzed quietly across the platforms, waiting, recording. It was the first time in 50 years that a non-human was allowed to speak before the Unity Council, and no one knew what to expect. Cole stood at the edge of the crowd, wearing a clean jacket and a security badge he didn't deserve. He scanned the platform, looking for her, but it was hard to find. One girl in a sea of aliens. Humans, nobles and soldiers. Then he saw her. Vera walked slowly toward the center podium. No chains, no cuffs, no coat to hide under. She wore a simple white robe, her silver hair tied back. The scar on her shoulder was uncovered. Not to shame her, but to show the truth. People stared, whispered, some even scoffed. Why listen to her? She's just a slave. She's part machine. But Vera kept walking, calm and silent. The moment she stepped onto the platform, the lights dimmed. The entire station fell quiet. She stood in front of the microphone, looked around, and said nothing for 10 seconds. Not because she was afraid, but because she wanted them to feel the weight of the silence, the same silence she had lived in for most of her life. Then she spoke. "My name is Vara," she said. "I was born into a people who were erased, sold, branded." The room stayed quiet. "I was taught to keep my head down," she continued, "to never speak, to never hope. But a human man found me." She looked toward the crowd, found Cole's eyes and smiled. He cut my chains, gave me water, called me by my name. Not because I was powerful, not because I was useful, but because I was someone. She held up her crystal, now glowing brightly in her hand. "This is the memory of my people," she said. "This is our art, our language, our last goodbye." Then she placed the crystal on the table beside her. A hologram lit the sky, showing images of cities lost to war, children laughing, towers rising into blue suns. People gasped, some covered their mouths. The galaxy had never seen these memories. "You tried to delete us," Vera said, her voice steady. "But we are still here." She looked at the soldiers seated near the front. "You marked me as property, called me dangerous. But you feared what I carried, not in my hands, but in my heart." The room remained silent, but the mood had changed. Even the hard-faced council members leaned forward, listening now. Vara stepped back and raised her voice slightly. "I do not ask for pity," she said. "I ask for change. I ask that no one ever be branded again, that no living being be scanned, tagged, or sold." Her words echoed like thunder in the silence. Some nodded, others looked down, ashamed, but no one interrupted. When she finished, Vara didn't bow, didn't cry. She simply walked off the stage, leaving the glowing crystal behind, letting it speak for her people. One last time. Outside, Cole met her at the stairs. "You did it," he said, his voice soft. She looked at him with wet eyes. "No," she whispered. "We did." 3 days later, the Unity Council passed the Vara Accord. The branding system was banned, the registry wiped, slave trade licenses dissolved, and across the galaxy, screens lit up with one headline. One voice changed the system. Vara sat beside Cole on a small ship, flying toward a quiet green world. The source core was waiting, but she was no longer the last of her kind. She was the first of something new. Cole smiled, looking out the window. "You think they'll remember this?" Vara leaned her head on his shoulder. "They'll remember the pain," she said, "but more than that, they'll remember who stood beside it." And far beyond the stars, where memory meets light, a voice once silenced was finally heard,